Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav YouTube channels and also live, from Travis's X account. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. To my right, I have my esteemed co-host, brother and friend, Travis J. Davison. Travis, how you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm good. It's been quite the whirlwind, quite the whirlwind. But yeah, you know, it's been wild because typically from a what up, Will? Typically from a retirement standpoint, you don't announce it 3 years ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so, it's OU has plenty of time. Whether they want to go traditional route, not traditional, route, whatever. But funny story. We're making business cards for the OU Club of Tulsa, and because it's weird because a lot of people don't know the OU Club of Tulsa exists, but I see people in Tulsa like with an OU polo on or something like that. So I want to have a business card to be able to hand them, right? To be like, hey, look, you should join the club. There's a link on the back to, QR code. Boom, you can join the club. We got an event coming up. Just something like that where I'm not like, just approaching random OU fans around Tulsa.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, we had just talked about this in a meeting last week. I was like, man, I really want it to look like an official OU business card because the clubs are extensions of the foundation. So technically there are OU assets, if you will. So I was like, hey, you know what? I know what I'll do. I'm going to text Joe C and ask him to take a picture of his business card for me. So I literally got in my car. I was on my way to the office and I had this thought, hey, I'll text Jeff C whenever I get, to the office. And while I'm in the car, Dari Noka and Josh Helmer on KREF break the news that Joe C is retiring. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just about to text him. So I did end up texting him, but much different text, a congratulatory and, gracious text that he deserves, Hall of Famer. So anyways, I thought that was kind of funny. So it would have been funny had I done it like right before the news dropped. I'm like, hey, you think you could send me a picture of your business card? And then the news drops and just be like, oh, never mind. You're busy. We'll talk later. So, uh, anyways, how are you doing? You're muted, so I don't know. What a rookie.
Golly, my daughter is going to bed, and she's in her teenager stage, and she is just it's been a lot. Every bedtime is a full out fight. So her and my wife are in there going at it right now. So I was trying to mute because her room is the next room over. So
I don't think I've
um,
ever heard the term three-nager.
yeah,
Like
it's
terrible twos and
it
then
really is the terrible
three-nager, huh?
threes, to be honest. The twos were fine. The threes have been see they go through emotions and then start to get like this is what I want. So like she's
Right.
I want this, and like she's incredibly stubborn and thinks that everything revolves around her, which again that's not necessarily abnormal for most kids,
I, yeah.
it but as a 3-year old, like she has no way of thinking anything other than that. And so it's just like a constant having to hold the line, and not give in, because if we give in, then we'll be creating a me monster.
Yep. It's the
Just
last thing you
just
need.
trying to hold that line. Anyways, I'm not here to give a parenting 101, but we're doing good. Obviously, Josie stepping down was a huge shock, and in certain ways, obviously we kind of chatted about, maybe him being willing to step down, or obviously you and I have talked about that from time to time. But even was it last year or 2 years ago where he was being rumored that he was going to take a job as I think the college football playoff commissioner or something like that. Like there are those things out there, and so it's not like incredibly out of left field necessarily, but at the same time, it's definitely something where me as an athletic director, myself, like I know how difficult my job is, and granted, like I have to do almost everything in my school because I don't have a crazy $1 million payroll that $100 million, maybe even $1 billion payroll, whatever that they may have at Oklahoma. But even still, just the responsibility and the weight that he's carried for so long is humongous, and he's done an excellent job. I know that some fans have been wary of him here in the end, but man, there's nothing but great things to say about Joe C. And I think even with this move, being willing to give the Oklahoma University time to find the right person, and him not just like, hey, I'm just going to step away completely, is I think a testament to who he is as a person, but also a testament to his love for the University of Oklahoma, similar to a Bob Stoops, right? That kind of did the same thing, saw what was necessary. Unfortunately, obviously, that led to the Lincoln Riley years, which we love the success we had. We don't love how it ended. But even Bob Stoops coming back in before Brent, like those guys love Oklahoma University. Like they're staples here. And so I think it's unique because a lot of times you have ADs that, or even sometimes coaches, like places are stopped for them, or this is just like where they're at in their career. But it seems like, again, for Joe C, and obviously a lot of the people he's hired, like this is not just a stop for them. This means the world to them. And he mentioned that, like, that Oklahoma's given so much to him over the last 30 or so years. It's just changed him so much. And so, anyways, not to get on the soapbox and talk a long time, but it's just inspiring even to me as a young athletic director to see the way he does things. I got to chat with him a little bit at my sister's little track thing that they have before graduation. Me and him talked for like 10 minutes, which was amazing and dope and just great to speak game a little bit. But yeah, I'm sad because it's the end of an era, but I'm looking forward to, potentially what OU has on the horizon, finding another AD that I think can kind of be ready to go in this era of college football.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and find somebody that wants to do the exact same thing, right? Like you talk about not being a stepping stone job, nothing like that. Like it's going to be somebody that is here for the long haul. And I think it is fascinating with him wanting to stick around, right? Because I think that's two-sided. I think one, it's to obviously groom whoever's next, whether that's like I said, a non-traditional or a traditional hire, kind of teach them the ropes, be there as kind of Bob was for Lincoln, to your point, kind of as an advisor, athletic director emeritus will be the title. But part of it is, I think, I think Joe Harris might have said, hey, man, I know you want to retire, but we still got a lot of projects you started that, we feel like this is a good opportunity for you to be able to finish them. So, like the baseball stadium, right? He's going to see that through. The basketball North Park facility, he's going to see that through, right? Like the West Side expansion, he's going to see that through. The great part about this is, and Joe C's a huge fundraiser. Like it's a huge part of the job. So one of the things when he was coming to the OU Club of Tulsa event, like what was crazy was like I had panicked because I didn't have his number at the time. So I was trying to get with his assistant. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen Joe yet, and he's supposed to speak in like 15 minutes. Like, do you know where he is? I don't, all these people showed up for a Joe C event and I have not got any confirmation from you. Anyways, he starts walking in. I was like, oh my gosh, am I glad to see you? He goes, oh, I've been in the parking lot for a half hour. I've just been on the phone trying to fundraise. I've been on the phone with donors trying to, and I'm like, it's nonstop. It's nonstop trying to raise money for projects, for NIL, for just whatever, right? Just calling. And what's interesting is I know for a fact since his press conference, he has talked to donors that about him remaining as their Sooner Club representative. Like they don't have a sales rep; they have Joe C as their rep. Like so, he's like, I'll stay as your rep. And I think the university saw it as an opportunity to say, hey, Joe, why don't you stay on for a couple more years and use that as your pitch to be like, hey, donor Bob or donor Bill or donor whoever, donor Susie, this is my lasting legacy. You've been a great partner to me for almost 30 years now. Would love, kind of one last push over the finish line. to put a bow on my tenure here at the University of Oklahoma. Let's get this West Side funded. Let's get this baseball stadium done, because he's already transformed the campus since he's been here.
Yes.
So I think that is a great sales strategy of, hey, look, one last hurrah, man. Can you write me one last big check, and let's push this over the finish line before I ride off into the sunset. You've been such a good partner to me. I value that. Let's continue to push this forward. So I do think from an OU like facility standpoint, I think that I think this is one of the best things that could have happened, because I feel like Joe, the knock on Joe from a lot of the fan base has been, where are the baseball facilities at? Come on, we've been asking for baseball facilities for so long. So I think this is the best thing to get those done, is basically saying like, okay, if there's anything that people can, knock me on, it's these projects that I've started that we haven't gotten done yet. And I think he really wants to be able to focus full time on finishing those projects, not negotiating deals for realignment, not negotiating, not talking with Congress about, new federal mandates about NIL or transfer portal. No, Joe is going to spend his 2 years as emeritus athletic director fundraising to finish projects. And I think that's fantastic news if you're an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about it before. Right. I think there's so many things that goes into, like you said, being an athletic director. And this is why, again, obviously as the resident athletic director on the channel, it is beyond frustrating to me sometimes. Yeah, obviously. So okay, you and I have had a conversation off screen about like realistic things of like, hey, here every athletic director can do things better. Nobody's perfect, right? That's different. My issue with a lot of the fan base is they whine and complain and moan about things they have no idea about, right? Like I was talking to one the other day and I was like, oh yeah, like Bob Stoops would probably want to, like, maybe he wants to come back and be the athletic director. It can't be any harder than coaching. And I almost wanted to throw my phone, because I'm like, listen, I understand that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I understand the job at the University of Oklahoma as a head football coach is a incredibly tough job. Has a lot of pressure. Don't get me wrong. And will you probably be the first to go before the AD? Yes. However, I don't think that means it's a harder job. The athletic director has to do so much. Even with his associate athletic directors, he's still over them. He's still responsible. Joe C is responsible for everything that happens at the athletic department at the University of Oklahoma. Like when my sister had a kind of crappy couple years on the track team with the previous coach, I forgot his name now, but like Joe C had to handle that. Like they have somebody that's over track specifically, right? They have an associate athletic director who runs track, but who is the ones that the student athletes heard from? Joe C, because ultimately it stops with him, right? And so that's just a piece of it, on top of fundraising, on top of, like you said, being at all these meetings. Yes, it just that's the entire scope of things that he has to deal with. And I just felt like there were a lot of fans that were, as fans do on X, making it sound like it's as simple as this. This is all you have to do. And these are the same fans who whine and complain about giving money to the NIL collective. So
yeah, no, it is. And I know that, I think we're kind of known as the podcast that gets on here and just complains about dumb fans all the time. But, it is, there's more to the job. A lot of people are just like, oh, all he needs to do is just fund this and fund that. Like, there's more to it. He doesn't just sit at his desk and write checks. Like, there's a reason that, the numbers that were shared by Joe Harris in the press conference were just jarring. They were $18 million in debt when they show up, and they had a $25 million annual budget. Now they have a $235 million annual budget, and they pay the school every year.
Yeah.
So it's like, with the coaching, with the athletic director stuff, very few people know what a coach actually does, like on a day-to-day. even fewer people know what an athletic director does. It's just easy to shout, "Fire Joe C, fire Joe C, fire Joe C," if you don't like the the baseball facilities, which I don't. I think that Oklahoma deserves better baseball facilities.
Yes.
Or like, and I'll push back a little bit on PSS. You know, as a football school who chases natties, I'll just say I'm ready for new blood. I don't know what Joe C did to make it harder to win natties at Oklahoma. He won one right away. We played for 3 more in the BCS era, and then made the playoff 4 times. Like, did Joe C, give up the lead at halftime against Georgia? Right? Like, did that happen? Yeah. Like, did he make DeMarco Murray not play? Did he like there were things like, I don't see how you can see a school win a title, play for 3 more, and make 4 national championships and say the AD is holding you back from winning national championships. I just need specifics on what he did to hinder coaches from getting the most out of their players, or from players from being injured, or from recruiting. Like, I just need to know what he specifically hindered, because there are whole SEC schools that have 1 national title, 3 national titles, 4 national titles. Like, he has 26 national titles. And I know everybody just thinks, hey, we're a football school. You could burn down all the other sports for all I care. I'm a football fan. And I get that. You're going to have those people. I'm not sure how nepotism and a bad DC would be his fault. That was not Joe's. The ADs have very little control over the staff. Like, it is the head football coach's job to hire and fire. Like, it's like, but again, you can't. If anything goes wrong, you just put it on the athletic director, which is crazy to me. Like, Bob should have fired his brother if you thought Mike was here too long. That is not Joe C's job. Yeah, Missouri doesn't even have an Addy, and it's like, no matter what anybody does, it won't be good enough for OU football fans. I'm sorry, like, it just won't be. Like,
it's just that until we win a national championship, there's just gonna always be detractors. And I'm not PSS. I don't think we're coming. I don't even think Travis coming to you. We appreciate you. We know you're on our show, but it's just this mentality. And I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish, Trav. It's just this mentality that, like you just said, like, we haven't won a national championship since 2000. Everybody's pissed off about that. But there are certain fans that are like, well, I'm a better fan than you because I'm going to whine about it the entire time. I'm going to be completely negative and act like nothing good has ever happened the last 25 years. But because I have high expectations. And it's
the expectations part is a bummer. But it's like Sam Presti. Before this past year, did people think Sam Presti was a bum because he didn't have a title? No. Consistency, consistent excellence, big wins. Third most wins since 2000, like third best program since 2000, behind Alabama and Ohio State. Like, Michigan's a blue blood and went 50 years without a title. Literally. We're halfway there, and it feels like it's been a lifetime. So, I mean, it's I get that everything wrong eventually, through the chain of command can be the athletic director's fault. I just don't see it, man. If Oklahoma is a different there is an argument that Joe Castiglione is maybe outside of Switzer and Benny Owen, maybe Bud, like, he's the most important administrator ever to Oklahoma athletics. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Like, it's when OU donors made Bob one of the highest paid coaches in football in 2000s. Where's that money? I don't understand what you want from that.
Are you saying for recruiting? Because it's not like the
Lincoln
coaches
Riley was set to become like they offered Lincoln Riley a new contract to be one of the highest paid head coaches. Like the next coach, do you think we should go spend more money to get new coaches or where's that money? A lot of the money is going towards revenue share now. And you don't need you don't want to pay a $40 million buyout to Brent Venables. You weren't going to pay a first-time head coach in Lincoln Riley that was 35 years old crazy money. Like you weren't going to play Brent Venables crazy money because he was a first-time head coach. I don't know what you're quite getting at now. If that's an AD issue that Bob made a lot of money. Good for Bob. Bob won a lot of football games, but I think that we're on the right track. I think Joe C hiring Jim Nagy was very important. I like that a lot. They're revolutionizing kind of the professionalism of the football program, of the football model, everything like that. They've kind of been, they're trying to get a step ahead of the game in that, and they'll have an opportunity to do so with the new AD hire. I think Joe C, yes, 30 years is a long time. 28 years is a long time. I totally get it. But you will have a bad time if you judge an AD on the football record. You want Mike Alford from Florida State? Cool, they sucked last year. You want Zach Selman? Cool, they sucked last year. You want Ren Baker? Cool, they sucked last year. You want Kirby Hocutt? Cool, they sucked last year. Like, you can't just go year to year with football records with ADs and hire and fire based on the football record. I know we're a football school. I totally get it. I'm not, trust me, as a guy who does post-game radio, I know Twitter rants and everything are great, but like, and getting in fights behind burners is fantastic. I have to go on radio and listen to drunk fans complain, and I'm mad about it too. Like, I'm pissed too. So, like, if you want Joe C to stay, you're cool with mediocrity. If you want, 26 national championships and 117 conference championships, 2-time athletic director of the year, Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame inductee in 2018. Like, if that's what you call mediocre, then I hope you have that same standard for yourself.
Right.
Yes, it pays for every sport, and Oklahoma football makes money.
It has.
Yeah,
it always has.
And if you want to, trust me, if you want to get a football pays for everything, then you better have a Joe C tattoo. Because like I said, before he showed up, OU was in a dark place. $18 million in debt. And Joe C dug Oklahoma out of that hole to where they're at $235 million a year annual budget. And they actually give money to the university because they make that much money. And Oklahoma's one of a handful of schools that doesn't ask the everyday student to subsidize the athletic department. They don't raise tuition a bit for athletic reasons. They don't have to pay for the football like other university students have to. Even if they don't even go to the football games, they have to pay for it. If you're going to judge Joe C by the finances, Joe C turned around the university from a financial perspective. Oh, and he secured the financial future 3 years before he even retired by signing a long-term deal with the SEC that secures the financial future at $70-80 million a year. And this is the thing. Isn't good enough if your expectation is to win championships, which is what a blue blood is. Okay, tell me the last USC national championship. Tell me the last Notre Dame national championship. Tell me the last Nebraska national championship. Tell me the last, outside of Alabama and Ohio State, when's Texas's last national championship? How long did Michigan go without a national championship? I just named all the blue bloods. And Ohio State and Alabama are the only ones that are putting out, championships. And one of them is because they had the absolute GOAT in Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Ohio State went a while without winning national titles.
If Bama doesn't get Nick Saban, Trav,
yeah, Bama was terrible in the 2000s. Like, there are 7 blue bloods. There are like it is
ESS, bro.
USC and Notre
Yeah.
Dame. They're foundational. USC and Notre Dame, OU, Texas, Nebraska, Ohio State, and Alabama, and Michigan. Those are the 8. Nebraska and Texas kind of fight over that 7th and 8th spot. But that's just what it is. And if you want to fire an athletic director because he only wins one national championship in football, forget the other 25 national championships that he won, but wins in football, turns the finances around in football completely on the front end and the back end, the initial and now the SEC move. And then, like, what happens if the next AD doesn't win one in his first 5 years? Should we fire him? Is that his job? No, it's not. Yes, it's bringing championships, but Joe C hasn't done anything to put OU in the way, like, or got in the way of OU winning national championships. If DeMarco Murray's healthy, we probably win one. If Lincoln Riley doesn't squib kick, we probably win one. You know, like, there are multiple scenarios that if Lincoln Riley cared about defense, you know, he won a lot of games. You know, Lincoln Riley has the highest win percentage out of any coach that Joe C has ever hired at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy part of your legacy right there. That the one guy that no fans will ever speak of has the highest winning percentage in your tenure of people that you hired. Obviously, Patty Gasso, number 1, but he didn't hire Patty Gasso. So, I don't know. I just don't think you can say an AD is either good or he's trash if Oklahoma isn't regularly winning football championships. Because that's not a stand. Like I said, I hope anybody that thinks that, I hope that they are billionaires. I hope that they are living, you know, on an island somewhere. I hope they got 4 homes. I hope they got all this, because the expectations that they hold for an athletic director better be some of the expectations they hold for themselves.
Thank you.
And that's where I get frustrated is like, yeah, you said, I mean, a lot to like, sure, but that's you know, there are people that wanted him fired last year.
Yes, there are people that believe he was the active reason why we, as Trav said, have not won a national championship. Obviously, again, you can say you didn't like his transition into the NIL era. You can say that you felt like he was a little slow, and some of those things could be even some remotely true. Like, I'm not saying he was absolutely pristine and perfect, but I think,
or could have been a Brent decision, right?
Or that. I mean, who knows that it was fully him? But like, at the end of the day, to act like, and again, this is the last thing I'll say about it. To act as if the athletic director of the University of Oklahoma is, obviously concerned about football from a financial perspective, clearly, which Trav lined out, but to act as if football is the only thing on his mind is asinine, because that's not why you get hired as an athletic director. Like, I know that, you know, these little people in their holes, and again, I'm not talking about really anybody in our section of the fans over here in our comment section, besides maybe Kirby, but Kirby's Kirby, so I'm leaving that alone. But you know, that have this male dominated mindset of just like, oh, just football, and it's like there are other sports, bro. Like, there's a thing called being equitable. It's Title IX. Like, the other sports matter too, right? Like we're just gonna act like Oklahoma softball wasn't the talk of the world the last 4 years. I get it's not football, but I mean, Trav, am I wrong that brought a butt ton of publicity to Oklahoma?
Well, not only that, but it raised enrollment.
Yeah.
Like, it legitimately raised enrollment. Like, that's part of it. The more you spend on TV, the more you spend, like people talk about the value of like Nick Saban's tenure and what he brought the school from an enrollment perspective, how much enrollment increased in the 2000s as under Bob. Like, there is a spike in female enrollment at OU because of Patty Gasso's success. That is money into the university. The real thing, everybody can talk TV deals all they want. When you get 20,000 people paying tuition, that's the real money. That's the real money. So, with that being said, it's there are some things where, I wish I would have, I wish baseball facilities were done. I wish the basketball facilities were done. I wish those things, but I think they're going to get done before he leaves. Like, I literally said that in the open. I think that those will get done before he leaves, and I think that every, I mean, golf has a new facility, gymnastics has a new facility, softball has a new facility. Like, I think, I think, I think with basketball, I think if they can get basketball and baseball done and the West Side expansion, like, every single team sport will have a much better setup, much, much, much better setup going into the future. But it's the idea that the standard is, Oklahoma has more 11-win seasons than any program in college football history. I think they're like number 2 or 3 in 10-win seasons. Like, and so much of that happened under Joe. Like, Joe might be since they didn't play that many games back then, Joe might have most of the 11-win season. So, like, are you going to give him credit for that, or can you knock him? Can you knock him for him not winning it when it was? I mean, he put the team in position. So I don't know. Josie's going to get a statue. I hope none of you spit on it because you guys don't understand what an AD does. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah. I could go on and on. Here's the last thing I'll say too, not about the AD tilt, but like about what Sooner Cowboys just said. I understand basketball, especially like the last few years with Porter has been up and down, but I guess maybe I am tripping, Travis, because like, especially being in Indiana, like Indiana basketball is like Indiana University of blue blood in basketball. Okay. Oklahoma blue blood in football. Okay. I think obviously Oklahoma basketball is not near what IU football is, but there's not a lot of expectation for IU football to be like incredibly like national championship level competitive. Like even last year, like them winning like 9-10 games was amazing. Oklahoma has won a national championship in basketball. They have, and they've been very competitive for a long time. I think I struggle to understand what the expectation is for Oklahoma basketball, because I feel like people talk about Oklahoma basketball as if they're supposed to be a blue blood type of school. And I personally don't see them as that. Like I see them as like, hey, we've made a few Final Fours. If you make the tournament every year, you make a Sweet 16 Elite 8 run, that's an amazing season. If you get to the Final Four national championship, that's an elite season. But to me, making the tournament, getting to the Sweet 16 / Elite 8 is an incredibly successful season. And again, I get that has been having a ton under Porter Moser, but I feel like Lon Kruger had a pretty good run. So I guess I don't understand when people are like, well, men's basketball hasn't really been that good under Joe C, because I guess I don't feel that way.
Well, I mean, this almost, because Joe C is overall sports, this almost feels like it'd be a greatest hits of our biggest gripes and points that we've made throughout, the whole school year. Because I was thinking of one I was going to say about basketball, and I was like, man, I feel like I said that whenever fans were trashing Porter, or I remember saying that when Dari came after the OU fans about not supporting the basketball team. It's funny that any talk about Joe C kind of draws it back up, which, yeah, baseball or basketball, basketball and baseball crowds really aren't what nearly every other SEC program deals with. Like, the OU fan is like, if you were just to pluck an OU fan out of the world, just one random OU fan, I would bet you that one random OU fan loves the football team, has never been to a baseball game, has probably never been to a basketball game, but they love football. So LSU fans, they love football too. A&M fans, they love football too. Tennessee fans, they love football too. But they love the university more than they love the sport.
Yeah.
So they'll go to the other games. They'll go, and that's what Dari got, caught all that heat for when he got on SEC Network and said it. But it was true. This is a guy that's basically the authority on the SEC, considering he's the lead of the SEC Network. Like, He knows all these coaches. He talks to these coaches. He had multiple SEC coaches. I talked to him about it. He had multiple SEC coaches text him after he went on that rant about OU fans, and they were like, "You're right. Like we don't mind going to play at OU because we know it's not going to be that ruckus of an environment." Like it's crazy to me, but
Yeah.
we'll be the first ones to demand a new facility, demand a new facility, demand a new facility. But you got to support the team. You got to go to Omaha if they make it. You got to go to a regional, or you got to go to if they got a tournament in Arlington, you can fill it up, right? Like, do you see what Arkansas fans did down there? They filled it up. Like, there were tens of thousands of them. Like, it's nuts. Like
This week.
So
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. It's just if you want to complain about Joe C and the facilities, look in the mirror. If you have never been to one of those events or never donated to any of those events, like, and never supported the teams, or just complained about the teams, like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what you expect Joe to do about it if
Yeah.
the own fans, if all they'll do is complain. And I know, again, we're doing it again. I hate this. I hate being the ones to get on and just like tell, fans that they're idiots. And I'm not saying that fans are idiots.
We're not
It's
even
just
saying that though.
I feel
They
but I feel like that's like an underlying tone of what we do.
we're just being reasonable. And truth be told, again, we're talking to the fans that are moaning and complaining, right? Again, which is the majority of the people in our chat is not that. Even the one who is, Kirby, is facetious with it for the most part. So it doesn't really, I just felt like we take certainly things that we see from X and bring it here, but also at the end of the day, we are grateful for Josie. We're grateful for what he's done, for the university. And I think whether or not people want to see that or not, it doesn't matter, because, people who have been involved know how important he's been to the university. And I'm excited. Let's take a couple minutes here to chat about who are some people that you may think that, are on your short list for AD. And then we'll get into our throwback video.
Yeah. So I put out and the more I think about it, it's like, man, they might go with a non-traditional, approach, a business approach, something like that. I mean, I could see something like what North Carolina did, even like Maryland is trying to go both routes, right? It's like business and traditional. I put out a tweet with basically my like right when it happened, I was like, these would be my like first or like top 4 candidates. And what I had said, as I'm finding it, I think I listed 4 names. Zach Selman, obviously, was a candidate, is a candidate. When people, like when he got hired from Oklahoma, like Mississippi State Twitter was like, hey, tell us about him. Tell us about him. Tell us about him. We were like, he's renting. He's not buying. Don't worry about it. Like he's basically, Joe's keeping his seat warm right now, but he's going to be headed our way soon. So anyways, Zach Selman, obviously a major candidate. I think that Ren Baker is another great candidate, considering he's from Valiant, Oklahoma. He's the current West Virginia AD. He did steal Zach Alley from us. So I don't know. I don't know if people feel a certain way. And Chuck Lilly, their GM, was one of our assistant GMs. So I don't know if there's any bad blood there that needs to be dealt with. But I would like those 2. Mike Alford, I think, will get a look. He is the Florida State athletic director. He's done some really unique things with some private equity when he was trying to sue. When he was like trying to get out of their grant of rights with the ACC and move to the SEC. It obviously didn't happen, but I like a guy that's trying to get creative with those kind of things. And then Kirby Hocutt, I think he was his first hire at OU. Texas Tech AD. He's released a statement. All these guys have released statements. All of the candidates, would-be candidates, have released statements about, Joe C was a Titan. He's one of the most important people of our position in our industry that we've ever had, which is all true. Like you said, I know that somebody gave Joe C a B plus from an AD perspective. It is an A plus plus plus, A plus plus plus. 26 national championships is what it is. But yeah, I think. Yep, Ren Baker is Oklahoma State, Aggie. But yeah, he's done a great job. He's younger. I'm not sure his age, but I think he was at Rogers State as well. Did some, did some good things there at Rogers State. Has a lot of good local ties, a lot of trust in the area. But yeah, I think if they go a traditional route, it'll be one of those four guys. But I don't know. What do you think about going the non-traditional route?
I think that there may be some wisdom in it, particularly when you have Joe C staying on for a few years, because the sports world, while there are some similarities or some overlaps, if you want to say that, from a lot of the business minded people that they would probably go after, like a CEO or something like that. There are some things that are different that, again, you just need to probably be coached on and understanding how the world of athletics works. Because yes, it is a business, but also at the same time, athletics is also very much people oriented, which I think a lot of times CEOs, there are some who are people oriented. There are some that are not. They're just business guys, and hey, at the end of the day, it's cutthroat, and you have to have that. Don't get me wrong, but you also have to be able to be a face. You have to be able to go and talk to people. You have to be able to understand where people are coming from. Just different things. And Trav, you understand some of this from obviously your job, right? And what you're doing day to day. Like those things matter, and so I think that is something that, in particular, Josie could probably help with, but I wouldn't hate, going and getting somebody that was proven as a CEO or in the business world somewhere, that can continue to gain financial ground, that Josie had made already, while also, I think, bolstering the university in different ways. So I think that would be a okay thing.
Yeah, I think it's, yes, athletic departments are businesses right now, but for the longest time, they didn't have a payroll from an athlete perspective.
Yeah.
You can run a pretty great business if you don't have a payroll,
Yeah.
But as the TV contracts go up, so does the payroll with the rev share NIL. Like it's, I like the idea of somebody that's kind of a disruptor that, is forward thinking. That's one thing about Joe C. With this SEC stuff, he saw this a mile down the road and said, we got to get off this Big 12 boat that's sinking, and we got to get to the SEC or the Big 10. So he approached Joe Harris, I believe, and was like, hey, I think it was Joe Harris said, he got the job 6 years ago after Gallagher.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, like, one of the first things that Joe C mentioned to him was, hey, we've got to get out of this conference. We've got to go to the SEC or the Big 10. I've laid down the pros and cons. I think the SEC is the best fit. So it's like this, like stuff like that, like forward thinking. You need somebody that's forward thinking in this new, highly disruptive area. So like that's, who that person is. I don't know. But, I see a lot of people saying, hey, look, like no, they can't have OU ties because a lot of people, and I think the Seth Luttrell hire muddied some people on this. I do think probably the Brent Venables hire has muddied some people on this. It's like Florida State's athletic director, by all accounts, is fantastic. He was I forget where he was at before. I was literally talking to somebody on the phone about it today. Anyways, like Mike Alford is fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
and he's the Florida State AD. Is he disqualified for the job now because he worked at OU under Joe C? Like, can we not hire an SEC, a current sitting SEC AD because he worked at Oklahoma?
Right.
Like, can we not hire, whoever because they worked at Oklahoma? Here's the thing: Oklahoma's been a wildly successful athletic department, one of the top 10 most successful athletic departments of the last 30 years. So talented people have worked in this athletic department and then gotten big jobs elsewhere. So I don't think that somebody should be hired only because they have OU ties, but I don't think they should be disqualified for the job. That doesn't make any sense because a lot of this job is donor relations. Like 75% of this job feels like it's donor relations.
Yeah.
Well, if those donors already know you and like you, that's good. That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Yeah, that's what it was, Topher. Thank you. Central Michigan and then Florida State. The fact that people would say that he cannot be the athletic director at OU, even though he's been great at Florida State, like it doesn't track. Like you're just jaded by Seth Littrell, Mike Stoops, and maybe Brent Venables. You're just jaded, and that's fine. It's fine.
We never hyped up is a strong word.
Just ignore Kirby. Ignore Kirby. It's not worth the time. But I do think, like with Mike Alford, when he took the job at Florida State, he was head of their fundraising arm before he took the AD job. He had an agreement in place to become the AD. So he got to know the donors. He got buddy with the donors. And then when he got named the AD, all the donors were like, that's my guy, man. Like I'm so happy my guy got the job.
Yeah.
Like donors really want to feel like they have a personal relationship with the AD. They open up the checkbooks because of it.
Yeah.
Like Mike Alford, elite fundraiser. Zach Selman, elite fundraiser. You want guys like that. You want guys like that because the name of the game, we talk about it. We talk about it all day. Money's the name of the game, right? Football makes money. We need money. We need money. We need money for facilities. We need money for NIL. We need money for this. So Alford and Selman are both elite fundraisers, and part of it is because they understand relationships. And if they already have prior relationships, you're all the better for it. So, John Morgan says so many of these ADs pass through OU for professional reasons. That isn't disqualifying. Exactly. How many associate ADs or whatever left OU and became full-fledged athletic directors?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a good thing.
That's a good mark, a true mark of honestly being under Joe C, right?
Right. He's developed talent and they've grown to go to other places. Yeah. So an AD having prior relationships with all of Oklahoma's multimillionaires and billionaires can only help the university.
Yep.
And it's going to be tough shoes to fill. I'm looking at a list right now. Joe Castiglione. Let's see. No way. Are they that bad?
Hmm.
All right, I got to find an updated list. Never mind. I'm going to find this and post this under our account.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's like I think you can get both of this. Like PSS, I agree. I want someone who has their own ambitions that excels despite the school. But because it's the job, like I don't think if you hire Mike Alford, he won't do the job for some reason. Like he's excelling right now. He's excelling at Florida State. Like Ren Baker is excelling at West Virginia. His fundraising has been monumental. Zach Selman has fundraised like a madman. The athletic budget has gone up huge at Mississippi State since he got there. So you don't get to the position of AD and accept at these levels without knowing how to do the job and having your ambitions to want to leave your mark.
Yeah.
So there are two things I'll pretty much push back on. It's anybody who says Bob Stoops should be AD. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And he's said on multiple occasions now, he does not want it. He would never want it. That's exactly what he doesn't want to do. He said if he got back into football, he'd be coaching somewhere at the college level. He's not going to be AD. So just because it's the only big name that, anybody knows outside of the current administration, that doesn't mean, oh, that's the guy that we should put in charge of everything. Like, so Bob Stoops, we got to stop that. We have to stop that. And then the second is previously being employed at OU should not qualify you or disqualify you from the job.
Yep.
Just because you don't like Joe John Finley, just because you don't like DeMarco at times, just because you don't like Seth Luttrell or maybe Brent Venables or Mike Stoops, doesn't mean that the athletic director is not allowed to have worked at Oklahoma in the past.
Yep.
Yes, Zach Selman did hire a very good baseball coach in Starkville.
Yeah.
And Drew brings up a point. Maybe the next day he can actually finish fundraising for the west side of the football stadium project that started in 2012. That's why I think Joe C is really staying on. I think Joe C is going to finish baseball, start basketball at least, and finish football, or at least start I'll put it this way. I think he'll start all three projects, like shovels in the ground, like construction started on all three of those: basketball, baseball, and football, all by the time he leaves. Because they mentioned it in the press conference. Harris said, hey, look, you still got work to do. I've talked to a couple donors in the last 2 days that have said, hey, look, we've already been hit up, to kind of finish the job, right? Like, it's kind of being looked at as his legacy project. Hey, he's going to finish out everything he started, and then he's going to ride off into the sunset. I don't think this is a situation where he wants to leave the next AD with a bunch of promises that he made and say, all right, cool, sounds good. They did this with Bob Stoops, with Lincoln Riley. Bob stuck around for 3 years, or 2 years or whatever as an advisor, right? Stayed around the program. Like, that's what Joe C is going to do in order to finish things. And with Joe C, he's very much a legacy forward guy, and he gets it. I started all these projects. I've got to finish them. I can't let these knocks, on me that I was a big idea guy and started projects and then just let them all go.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be an interesting, next half year to a year, however long they're going to take to find somebody. But I think they'll do their due diligence, and obviously Joe C, I'm sure will be part of that process. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know that a lot of fans are too. Just it'll be interesting to see what happens with the new AD, and also you have your fans out there that wanted Joe C gone. So we'll see. Hopefully,
be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful. If it goes wrong, All right. It's time to do our throwback with Trav and JP, and this was one that was mentioned through Twitter DMs actually, and I thought it was a good one to do, specifically because this guy, just won a Super Bowl this year, and I figured, hey, let's not why not throw it back in the past and look at something magical he did at Oklahoma, and so that would be one Jalen Hurts, and definitely remembering this game, the Baylor versus Oklahoma game. That was a special game. Trav, what were you doing, man, during this game? Because I remember being so upset at the beginning of the game, or just throughout the process of it.
Trying to think where I was watching this.
Chat, you guys chime in too. Where were you guys when this game was happening?
Let's see. This would have been. This was pre-COVID November. I had to have been at Trey's. Yeah, I was at Trey's. Yeah, this is. I mean, right at 1,000 views. Nice. Yeah. I mean, we looked terrible, and weren't we against a backup per usual?
We were in the championship game, but I thought that Charlie Brewer, I think, played most of this game.
I got you. Yeah, I know he got knocked out of the championship game, but
Yeah, we had the Rough Riders on.
well, looking back at the rushing stats for that season is so funny to me. Like, let's see, 2019 Oklahoma football.
Wasn't Jalen Hurts our second leading rusher?
I mean, it's about to pull up. Hold on.
A.D. Miller. I was like, that's not Hollywood no more. It's number 5. You got that name. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. Jalen Hurts was our leading rusher. 1,300 yards rushing, 20 touchdowns. He had 32 rushing touchdowns or 32 passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns.
Jalen did?
Yeah.
Those
John
are crazy
Mateer,
numbers, bro.
John Mateer led the NCAA with 44 total touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had 8 more than that. He ran for 1,300 yards. His 1,300 yards rushing were only 29 yards behind the leading receiver that year in CeeDee Lamb.
That's nuts, dude. That's why
his
he's
carries,
Heisman voting, man.
Right. Kennedy Brooks had 155 carries. Jalen Hurts had 233 carries, dog. 78 more carries than the number one running back. 78 more carries than the number one running back. What an insane offense.
This is the year that made Trey Sermon transfer. Speaking of this running back room, because this was shoot. Who was our old running backs coach?
Boulware?
Yeah, Jay Boulware. I don't know what happened between him and Trey, but whatever it was,
yeah, he rushed for 7.1 yards a carry that year. Trey Sermon did on 54 carries. Ramondre rushed for 8 yards a carry. This offensive line was nasty.
It was, and what a backfield that is, though. I mean, Trey, Kennedy, and Ramondre. You got 2 NFL backs in Trey and Ramondre, and then Kennedy was an incredible college back. Obviously, he didn't make it in the NFL, but we know what Kennedy did in a college.
Well, and you had Kirby's guy, Marcus Major, in the backfield as well.
Yeah.
He had 28 yards that season. So, but yeah, Jalen Hurts, 233 carries. What an Iron Man.
Yeah, that's nuts. And again, I think you've seen some of this, even what he did here. We're down 28-3. Here it is right here. Starts to bring us back. That was Big Stog before he got hurt. Had that crazy knee injury happen in 2020. But you saw some of this translate over the last couple of years in the NFL, and Jalen has just continued to ascend the ranks. A lot of people even still now don't have Jalen as a top 10 quarterback. He still somehow is getting disrespected, even though he just took down the Chiefs dynasty and outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl championship game. He has a great team around him. Don't get me wrong. He has a great team, but he balled out.
Yeah, people just go back and forth between individual and team depending on whatever fits their narrative.
Yeah.
I saw something today where it was like Shea obviously outplayed Luka in the second round last year, but Luka's team won the series. So it's like, okay, cool. He won the series. It's like, but then Luka, led the, NBA playoffs in all these statistics, but his team didn't win it. So like, what do we, and then now it's like, okay, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Jalen's not that good. Okay, well, what about the Chiefs with the number one defense, and how they were shut down? Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree. You remember that guy, Trav? Just caught that ball, Lee Morris.
Heck yeah, that's all he did was catch touchdowns. I'm surprised he wasn't in the end zone on that one.
All he did, man. Lee Morris was insane.
This was so much
Is
of the
this when Matt
offense.
Rule was still there? Matt Rule was still their coach at this point in time, right?
I thought it was Aranda, wasn't it?
Because I didn't think Aranda got there until 2021 when Baylor beat us with Caleb Williams.
Man, I was thinking backwards. Yeah,
I think this is Rule's last year.
Yeah, it was Matt Rule. Yeah,
because I'll truth be told, bro, I've never seen a team, even an SEC team, that we even LSU that we played that year. Obviously, I know they're offensive minded, but I've never seen a team hit as hard as this Baylor team. Like I remember watching this game. I don't know if you guys felt this way in the chat or you, Trav, but like they were hitting us, bro, and I was like, dang. I was like, they are, and that was obviously maybe a little bit. The Big 12 was not known for defense, at that time, but they were as hard hitting as I've seen.
Right. Well, and part of it was that Jalen just ran straight into them, which isn't helpful.
Yeah. See, Pat Fields, your boy.
Yep. He just got married.
Oh, did he? Hey, there's another Jordan Kelly. There's another 918.
Yep. Union High School. Both of them proud of Union High School. Not Tulsa Union, but Union High School.
See, he played. Oh, not in this game. You're saying he played in the championship game. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of great that happened with the 2017 through 2019 defense.
You got to take it. We can get it.
But
the peanut punch.
Yeah, that was the turnovers.
That Piedmont.
Piedmont. Yep.
That
was the turnovers equal victories. Was Roy Manning over there yelling? He probably made a video after.
Yeah, he's probably texting.
You know what I'm talking about? Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah, popped.
That's probably a flag in 2026.
Yeah. I think Jalen Petrie was on this team, bro.
That makes sense.
Oh, Creed is on. Was the center still? We know he's the best center in the league.
And that's why that run game was so potent. I mean, when you look at, look at those holes at the middle. But the the stats of that year's team, like you had Hurts at 5.6 yards per carry, Brooks at 6.5 yards a carry, Ramondre at 8 yards a carry, and Sermon at 7.1 yards a carry. Even TJ Pledger averaged 6.5 yards a carry. Like everybody that averaged more than 10, or everybody that had more than 10 carries that year, 54, 64, 155, and 233, all averaged at least 5.6 yards a carry. You know how crazy that is? Man.
So we're down 14 here. Yeah, this was a huge Lee Morris game. He was all over the place.
Yeah. Well, we were down the top target, so it's like
yeah. Who we got Basquin out there, Charleston Rambo, who unfortunately didn't pan out. Lee Morris looks like.
I remember when Charleston Rambo was supposed to be like a first round pick. Like Todd McShay's like way too early. He caught that one deep ball for Kyler in the bowl game, and everybody was like, "Yep, here he is. He's the next one up."
Yep, you got A.D. Miller out there who was like a 7th year senior. There's Theo.
Yeah,
a young Theo, man.
That's Theo's move though. That hard step, you can see that a mile away. That's his favorite move.
Yep. Yeah, this was I mean, I don't remember. Oh, Drake Stoops is out there right now too. I don't know, remember people was hurt, but I mean, Jaden, Theo, Trajan would have all been. I mean, this was they were all freshmen this year.
Yeah, that was a big class.
Hmm.
That was
We
Lincoln's
really,
highest rated
man,
class.
I know. Looking back at it, we really thought like we were like,
I thought we were about to go on a run like crazy, man.
swear.
When that 2023 class started committing, because everybody thought Malachi Nelson was a dude. I was like,
Yeah,
man, Makai Lemon. I mean, Makai Lemon's a
yeah,
dude for sure.
yeah.
So, like, Makai, all those dudes committed in that 2023 class. I was like, man, this thing gonna be crazy.
Facts.
And they all left. There's the Theo.
I
Yeah,
hate that he
really.
didn't finish up here, man. And I hate
Well, I
that
hate that
he's.
he got so. I hate that it got so weird.
Yeah, I did. He was
Like
talking.
with the fans afterwards, like it's just
He
weird. Like
caught
I
the
did.
game touchdown this year. It's tough. Did OU fans attack him though? I mean,
Not that I saw.
right? Maybe it happened, but Ronnie, the dude was a dog
Yeah, he was. We need that kind of nasty back on the defense.
for sure.
He was a little crazy too.
He was nuts. I was watching the Oklahoma State game from the COVID year when I don't remember what Spencer Sanders said because he always said a lot, but he said something. I remember the first defensive possession, Ronnie like picked him. I don't know, remember Ronnie like picked him up and choke slammed him down.
Yeah, dude. And
And
then
then
and then he was
later talking
walking back. He was walking back to the huddle and he shoved the Oklahoma State dude off of him by the face mask. Oh, it was so cool.
yeah. And then Ronnie ended up knocking him out the game later, like grabbed him by his hip and just suplexed him. And
Yeah, that's what the kids call aura.
yeah, yeah.
Look at
Man,
Jalen
Kennedy was
throwing the
so good
rock.
at people making people miss. He was so underrated for sure.
Woo, one hand.
Kirby, I do remember when Perion Spirit Brock Purdy. I was literally right in front of it. Actually, I was with
I was
tattoo.
I was on a visit with Gentry Williams. You were in my seat.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I was sitting with tattoo, and you were.
I was on a visit with RSJ and Gentry.
Yeah. There's Jaden. Yeah,
Yep.
he didn't pan out either. It's really sad.
Now I think he's like a fashion designer or something.
It's crazy. I know. Such what happened to that class.
Glass man.
I mean, it makes me so mad. Theo's at Missouri, Jaden ended up at Arkansas. Trajan, what happened with him?
Stog. Rattler.
Who's 73 right there on the line? I know we got Adrian Ely, Marquise Robinson, Tyrese Robinson, Marquise Hayes. I didn't know who 73 was though. I can't think off the top of my head.
I forget. This was such a dramatic finish too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I'm just gonna wait until the end because I got a lot to say to that man. Bring Willis. B Will. A young B Will.
Yeah. Weight room Willie.
Yeah. There's CD right there talking.
Just talking.
They was lucky he didn't play. That was probably one of my favorite things that year was the conference championship game. CD got to get his get. I mean, obviously we won, but CD got his get back against Baylor. And so does CD really make that much of a difference? For screenplay, he takes it like 80 yards.
Right. I love how the defense is all bad now. You got Ronnie and K9 and all them boys out there. But what happened with the 31 points y'all gave up?
I know.
You're letting Charlie Brewer slice and dice you.
Slice and dice them. The front seven wasn't bad. It was the back. It was the back end that was. RJ Proctor.
Oh,
Thank you, Andrew.
we got the spotter. We got the spotter spotting it for us. Golly.
The radio man himself.
That was the fastest Kennedy Brooks has ever looked.
I swear. That and that last Texas run in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
$5.2. Yeah. Skirt. Man. His ability just to make people miss. And he's so freaking strong.
Well, and also, like, not only make people miss, but slide, toss the ball to the ref, back to the line. Like,
yeah.
Everything is just so business. Like, it's like slide, boom. And you're not really against the clock here. I mean, you had, 240, 245 left on that clock, like, with 3 timeouts. Like, so, like you're fine there. So, but, it's just him.
This is Birkin bag. ever since that burrito deal, man.
Like people joke about it. That's absolutely what happened. Like he hurt his foot, was never the same. His mind, like that little stunt, that cost him millions of dollars in potential earnings.
It's crazy. He was very good. Oh, look at Gabe.
A young Gabe.
Oh, another ad. It's the same one that popped up last time, as a matter of fact.
Of course, Gabe's over there chilling with Jalen.
Yeah. Oh, Nick almost had that one.
Yep.
I remember that. No more burritos, says Andrew.
He'll get his get back though.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember thinking he had that one. I was like, oh, you gotta squeeze it.
I like how he
Go ahead.
I like how he popped up like I got it.
Yeah. Boom.
There it is.
Man. Foreshadowing. That man is a top defender in the NFL now.
Yep.
And I got to see him personally with Travis as well this last NFL season destroy my Colts playoff dreams as
so many surrender cobras.
Oh my gosh. Jalen's still cool. He's still cool. But yeah, this man Nick Bonito took a crazy reverse pass thrown by a Longhorn, and I just saw Denver's fans just rocking. This man is he could tell then that he has great instincts for the ball.
Man,
can him read exactly what?
Yeah, they knew. Running. They knew they wanted to go to the sideline.
I was like, is that DTY? It's Jeremiah Cradell. Good old Teddy. Yeah, that was a special game, man. I remember being very upset, thinking like, man, there goes our shot at a playoff. And then, man, I was literally coming in my garage door, or not like, I was walking in from watching it on the way home. I don't remember what I was doing. Probably a game, probably had a volleyball game or something like that, or a basketball game. But anyways, I was walking in the door, and one of my best friends from college, who was living with me and Kirsten at the time. Literally, as I'm walking in, Nick Benito is about to intercept that ball, and I went to my knees.
Oh man,
yes, I was so happy.
That's some crazy timing,
brother. It was fun, but Sooner Cowboy says he misses making the college football playoffs. Man, I think it would be a breath of fresh air for the fan base if we could do that this year. And so here's to hoping for the future. Obviously, we do these throwbacks to reminisce and think about shared experiences, but also to remember, hey, we're Oklahoma, man. We're not going to be down for long. We're not going to be down for long. I truly believe that.
Yep, I agree. But hey, Joe C's last year, right? It only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Go out with a bang.
Go out with a bang. Trav, you got anything else for the people, man, before we head out?
No. Just everybody hold yourself to the same standards in which you hold your favorite university's ADs, and everybody will be better off for it. Other than that, drink horns down. They support the baseball team. If you want people to support the baseball team, Horns Down Fine Spirits supports the baseball team. Maybe. It's damn right they do. They got a vodka too that's fantastic. So, anyways, we are close. We got football next month.
Yep. Illinois State.
Football next month.
Mm-hmm.
So, excited. Football next month. So, I was listening to like Pate recently, and he brought up some, I don't know, he does the typical thing when it's like, oh, it's a brisk morning, you turn on this, and he painted the picture perfectly. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, man, just can't wait to be back to football season. Can't wait. But yep, media days next week. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have some quotes from it. So appreciate you all. Appreciate Edson for joining. Everybody else, Ryan, Cowboys, PSS. I know we're picking on you a bit, but we love you, PSS. Again, Shep. I can't think of anybody else of note that was commenting at all. But appreciate you all for joining, and we'll see you guys next week.
Oh, Boomer.